My 42-year-old female, 16-year-old daughter is not my husband's biological daughter. Her dad decided after I got pregnant that the mom of his child wasn't the woman he wanted to marry and is not in her life. It was just me and my daughter for the next 7 years until I married my husband. We had 3 kids in quick succession after we got married. They are now 8-year-old male, 7-year-old female, and 5-year-old female. I recently found out I was pregnant, and that has made my marriage worse. My daughter's dad first lived off of others, giving him money to be an equestrian. He later, I found out, started getting hired as a riding instructor / helped others take care of their horses. His inconsistent income / 1099 status was what he used to dodge his financial responsibilities. I started my daughter on this path as a hobby, but it was clear that she was talented. I would work a second job as a stable aide so that she could afford the lessons, would drive other kids to and from lessons, and do other odd jobs to put towards her training expenses until I married my husband and became a stay-at-home mom. My husband was very supportive of her pursuit until she entered high school. We were looking into possible future scholarships, which I understand are rare, to come out of her competing / colleges with equestrian programs. My husband started lying about how my daughter did not want to do this and how he loves her more than me because he understands her better. He embarrassed me by complaining about the other moms whose kids competed, saying they were snobs, or that he didn't want me to try to fit in with them or get their approval. Then he'd complain to parents about the new group lesson costs, etc. I found out I was pregnant and went with my daughter to an event and got too sick and tired to attend a school open house, and he flipped out on me when he came home. We got into a fight, and he told me that this isn't working out. I feel he says that to scare me, but I was not scared of divorce because I'm not going to grovel for his approval, and I can make it work without him. I told him I'll happily grant his divorce. He then says he wants joint custody of all the kids. I told him that legally he has no grounds with my daughter. He says she can still come to his place when he has the other kids, and I remind him she doesn't have a license, and I don't owe him any agreement to drive her to his place. He screams, "She is my stepdaughter, I've been her dad." I told him he cannot just want to divorce his pregnant wife and get the benefits of that, including my general cooperation with this divorce, and still claim the title of my daughter's stepdad. He can't have his cake and eat it too. Legally, I am in the right since he never adopted her. He does not want to support my 16-year-old's goals. With the divorce, he doesn't have the responsibility that being an equestrian's parent entails. All her bills will be coming out of my account, but that means he cannot just continue to enjoy all the benefits of that without any of the responsibility. I don't think that's fair. I told my daughter that her stepdad wants a divorce because he absolutely hates paying for her lessons, says they are making her into a snob like me and the other moms. She's a people pleaser, so she'd say yes to seeing him just to not hurt his feelings. But she has said that if he really hates her because she wants to be an equestrian, then she just wants to continue her passion, and it seems most conducive to do so where she's living with me and not seeing somebody who actively wants to stop her future dreams. So am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, you're the idiot. There's just so much wrong about your post. You are weaponizing your daughter against the only father figure she has. You are pushing for a pie-in-the-sky scholarship. In your own words, rare and WTF, it's a super expensive sport. And your poor husband is supporting, including himself, 6 people on 1 income. Ooh, you're a stay-at-home mom, with a daughter that this guy took on as his own. Your youngest is 5 years old now. Why haven't you gotten a job to support your daughter's super expensive sport? You are such the jerk. Comment 2. To me, it sounds like you are blackmailing your husband by saying you need to pay for my daughter's expensive hobby, or you can't have a relationship with her. Your replies make it worse by saying she is a people pleaser, meaning she would want to please you by going along with said blackmail. I just wonder how she will feel about it in a few years' time. I am also curious how you plan on paying for her expensive hobby when you say you are a stay-at-home mom. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been about a month since I last posted, and I wanted to give you all an update on what's been going on. First off, thanks for all the support and advice on my previous post. It really means a lot to me. So, a lot has happened in the past month. My husband and I are still going through with the divorce, but things have gotten even more complicated. A few weeks ago, my daughter had a big competition coming up, and I was working extra hours at the stable to help pay for her entry fees and travel expenses. My husband found out, and he was furious. He accused me of putting my daughter's hobby before our family and said that I was being selfish. We got into a huge fight and he threatened to take the kids and leave. I was so scared and I didn't know what to do. I ended up calling my mom and she came over to help me calm down. She reminded me that I'm a strong woman and that I can handle anything that comes my way. The next day, my daughter had her competition and she did amazing. She placed first in her division and even got a scholarship offer from a top equestrian college. I was so proud of her, and I knew that all the hard work and sacrifices we had made were worth it. But when I got home, my husband was gone. He had taken the kids and left a note saying that he couldn't handle being married to someone who cared more about horses than her own family. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do or where to turn. I ended up reaching out to my daughter's biological father for help. I know it sounds crazy, but I was desperate. He actually agreed to help me out financially so that I could keep supporting my daughter's passion. It turns out that he had been following her career from afar and was really proud of her. With his help, I was able to keep paying for my daughter's lessons and competitions. And even though things were tough, I knew that I was doing the right thing for her. But then, just last week, my husband showed up at the stable. He said that he wanted to talk and that he was sorry for everything that had happened. He admitted that he had been jealous of my daughter's success and that he had let his own insecurities get the best of him. We ended up having a long talk, and we both agreed that we needed to put our kids first. We decided to try couples therapy and see if we could work things out. It's not going to be easy, but I'm hopeful that we can find a way to co-parent and support each other, even if we're not together anymore. Looking back, I realized that my husband and I had been having problems for a long time. We got married young, and we never really took the time to work on our relationship. We were always so focused on the kids and our own individual pursuits that we forgot to nurture our marriage. I also realized that I had been neglecting my own needs and desires for a long time. I had been so focused on being a good mom and supporting my daughter's dreams that I had forgotten about my own passions and goals. I used to love painting and writing, but I had let those things fall by the wayside. So I've started taking some time for myself again. I enrolled in a painting class at the local community center, and I've been writing in my journal every night. It's been really therapeutic, and it's helped me to rediscover parts of myself that I had forgotten about. I know that the road ahead is going to be tough, but I'm feeling more hopeful than I have in a long time. I'm grateful for my daughter and the amazing young woman she's becoming, and I'm grateful for the lessons that this experience has taught me about myself and what's truly important in life. Thanks again for all the support and advice. It really means the world to me. Am I the idiot for kicking my girlfriend out after she aborted our baby and lied about it? I, 28-year-old male, have been with my girlfriend, 23-year-old female, for 4 years and living together for 3. I pay all of our bills and only require that my girlfriend keeps up with house chores. She has a part-time job where she works 3 days a week as a cashier at a beauty salon. She makes minimum wage, and all of her money goes to her hair, nails, and clothes. I have never minded this. I like it when my girlfriend feels and looks good. A month ago, we found out she was 6 weeks pregnant. We were both somewhat shocked, did not make a big effort to prevent, and immediately told our family the news. We are renting an apartment, but it is extremely cheap, way below my budget. I was planning to purchase a house within the next year, as I have been able to save a lot, especially since I am a frugal person. Unfortunately, I was laid off from my job 2 weeks ago, but honestly, it was not a big deal. Like I said, I have saved enough to easily live without working for at least a year. The plan obviously was not to wait a year before getting a new job. I immediately started searching again. However, my girlfriend took the news extremely badly and was even mad at me. She was distant and refused to talk to me because she thought I was not taking things seriously enough. I told her that we, including the baby, were fine and that finances were still good. My girlfriend does not know how much money I made and how much I have saved. This is because at my previous job, she knew how much I made and was constantly begging me to make big purchases and asking for money. I started keeping my income and savings from her because she is not good with financial planning for the future. On Thursday, the 7th, my girlfriend came into our bedroom sobbing and told me that she thinks she miscarried. I offered to take her to the hospital, and she told me her mother was outside and would be taking her. I offered to go with her, and she told me she only wanted to be with her mother. I let them go and tried to keep myself from having a panic attack the whole time I waited. When she came home that night, she confirmed that she had a miscarriage and that it must have been from stress. We held each other and cried that night. In the morning, I noticed she was crying again, and she started apologizing and told me that she had aborted our baby. I was shocked, hurt, and in disbelief. I told her to get her stuff and leave. She begged me some more before I, very calmly, pushed her out of my room and closed the door. I heard her crying and moving things around for about an hour before she left the apartment. I haven't spoken to her since. Her sister ended up calling me and telling me I am a horrible person for kicking her out after going through such a traumatic event. Is this not traumatic to me? She told me my girlfriend aborted the baby because she knew we were not financially prepared. I let her sister know that I am not worried about finances and that it still does not justify her getting rid of our baby without my input. Now I am faced with telling my family what happened. Am I really wrong? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You can't trust your girlfriend with the knowledge of how much you have in savings and what your income is, but you are going to bring a child into the world with her? This doesn't sound like a breakup that was only about her decision to abort here. It sounds like you're both better off apart. Comment 2. Everyone sucks here. If my partner was laid off and didn't worry about it, I would also not think it's a good time to have a child. Also, you're not mentioning why you were laid off. Can't blame her for being worried. But obviously, she should have talked to you about it. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading. It's been a tough couple of weeks since my last post. After my girlfriend left, I spent a lot of time alone, trying to process everything that had happened. I couldn't believe she had gone through with a baby unaliving without even talking to me about it first. I felt betrayed and hurt, like our relationship meant nothing to her. A few days after she left, I got a call from her mom. She told me that my girlfriend was staying with her and that she was a wreck. She hadn't stopped crying since she left our apartment. Her mom begged me to come over and talk to her to try and work things out. I was hesitant at first, but I knew I couldn't just leave things the way they were. When I got to her mom's house, my girlfriend was waiting for me on the porch. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. We sat down and talked for hours. She told me that she had been scared and overwhelmed by the thought of having a baby, especially with me losing my job. She said she felt like she had no other choice but to get a baby unaliving. I tried to explain to her that we would have been fine financially, but she just couldn't see it that way. As we talked, I realized that there had been a lot of communication issues in our relationship. I had never really opened up to her about our finances, and she had never felt comfortable talking to me about her fears and concerns. We both agreed that we needed to work on being more open and honest with each other. Over the next few days, we spent a lot of time together, just talking and trying to rebuild our relationship. It wasn't easy, but we both knew we wanted to make it work. I started looking for a new job, and my girlfriend decided to quit her part-time job at the salon and focus on finding something more stable. About a week after we started working on things, I got a call from a company I had interviewed with before losing my job. They offered me a position with a higher salary than I had been making before. It felt like a sign that things were starting to turn around for us. But just as things were starting to look up, we hit another roadblock. My girlfriend's sister, the one who had called me after the baby unaliving, showed up at our apartment one day, furious. She accused me of manipulating her sister into getting back together with me and said that I was a controlling and hurtful partner. I was shocked and hurt by her accusations, but my girlfriend stood up for me. She told her sister that she had made her own choices and that I had been nothing but supportive throughout everything. It was a difficult conversation, but it made me realize how much my girlfriend had grown over the past few weeks. She was standing up for herself and our relationship in a way she never had before. It gave me hope that we could make it through anything together. Now, a few weeks later, things are starting to feel more normal again. We're still working on communicating better and being more open with each other, but we're making progress. My girlfriend has started seeing a therapist to work through some of her fears and anxieties, and I've been more open about our finances and my own struggles. Looking back, I realized that the baby unaliving was a turning point in our relationship. It forced us to confront some of the issues we had been avoiding and to start working on building a stronger foundation. I know we still have a long way to go, but I'm hopeful for our future together. Thanks for reading, everyone. I appreciate all the support and advice you've given me throughout this difficult time. Am I the idiot for rejecting my coworker's advances and now facing an HR complaint? I, male 46, have been married to my wife Heather, female 45, for 18 years. We have 2 kids, 16-year-old female and 14-year-old male. We work for the same company but in different departments. She works on a different floor of our building. We recently hired a new employee, Sarah, female, 30. I helped her a lot with her training and even prepared a guide for her so she could catch up on the new role quickly. I told her she could drop by any time if she had a question. She kept coming to my desk to chit-chat. Even my coworker Chris, who shares an office with me, noticed. I thought she was new and lonely, so not a big deal. She asked me to go out for lunch with her. I laughed and joked, asking if Chris wanted to join us for lunch. Then Sarah looked at me and said no. She meant just us to talk. Plus, she wanted to buy me lunch because I had been so nice to her. Chris gave me a look. I told her she didn't have to and that I was just doing my job. She insisted, and I agreed. During lunch, she started rubbing my hand. I moved my hand and changed the topic to my wife, bringing her up repeatedly. She eventually said she found me attractive and wanted to be more than friends, suggesting we start with friends with benefits and see where it goes. She said she thought I wasn't happy in my marriage because I was having lunch with her and laughing, while she never saw me having lunch with my wife. I told her I was married and wanted to keep our friendship professional. She didn't like my reply and became quiet. I apologized, but she said it was all good. I paid the bill for both of us since it was so awkward, and we went back to work. I received a letter from HR telling me they needed to talk to me because Sarah filed a complaint. She said I had asked her out for lunch, been inappropriate and handsy, and even pressured her to have intimacy with me, but she left. I was floored. Luckily, my coworker Chris can confirm my side of the story. I immediately told my wife the whole thing, and she got furious at me. She said she believed Sarah's side because she stands by the victim. I told her Sarah was lying. Chris can confirm she invited me. Also, I wasn't inappropriate. I didn't touch her and turned her down. My wife rolled her eyes and said Sarah is a gorgeous woman much younger than me, implying I took advantage of her. I was so annoyed. I have always been faithful to her. How could she possibly think of me like this? Luckily, the HR issue was resolved, and I just have to do some training. I asked to move to another team so I won't be working with Sarah anymore. Am I the jerk for resenting my wife for not believing my side, for taking her side without any proof? I basically barely talked to my wife since the incident. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. She insisted, and I agreed. Well, there's your mistake. There's your... Why in the world would you agree to go to lunch with her? Also, why in the world doesn't your wife trust you? I see nothing to suggest you are untrustworthy. Is she that naturally suspicious of you? Not the idiot, but you really aren't that smart. Comment 2. Not the idiot, she was attracted to you, made her move, and failed. Then she retaliated and made the first move to cover herself before you can do anything. Also, I'd question my marriage if I were you. If your own spouse can't trust you, then she's not a partner. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments and support on my last post. It's been a tough week since everything went down with Sarah and my wife Heather. So after the HR issue was resolved, I thought things would start to get back to normal. But boy, was I wrong. Heather has been giving me the cold shoulder all week. She barely talks to me, and when she does, it's just short, snappy responses. I tried to sit her down and have a real conversation about what happened, but she just shut me down, saying she didn't want to talk about it. The tension at home has been so thick, you could cut it with a knife. The kids have definitely noticed that something's up between us. Our daughter even asked me if everything was okay with me and Mom. I didn't know what to tell her, so I just said we were going through a rough patch, but we'd work it out. Things at work haven't been much better. Even though I moved to a different team, people have been talking. I guess word got around about the complaint Sarah filed against me. Some of my coworkers have been giving me weird looks and whispering behind my back. It's like they all think I'm some kind of creep now. I ran into Chris in the break room the other day, and he told me that Sarah has been telling people her version of what happened at lunch. Apparently, she's been playing the victim, saying how I made her feel uncomfortable and pressured her. It's like she's trying to turn everyone against me. I just don't know what to do at this point. I feel like my whole life is falling apart. My wife doesn't trust me, my coworkers think I'm a sleazeball, and I'm just trying to keep my head above water. To make matters worse, I found out that Sarah has been hanging around Heather at work. They've been having lunch together and chatting in the hallways. I confronted Heather about it, and she got defensive, saying that Sarah needed a friend right now and that she was just being supportive. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own wife siding with the woman who's trying to ruin my life. I guess I should have seen this coming, though. Heather and I have been having problems for a while now. We've been growing apart, and I feel like we don't really know each other anymore. We used to be so in love, but now it's like we're just going through the motions. I remember when we first started dating, Heather was always so jealous of any woman I talked to. She would constantly accuse me of flirting or cheating, even when I was just being friendly. I thought she would grow out of it as we got older, but I guess some things never change. I just feel so alone right now. I don't have anyone to turn to. My wife doesn't believe me. My coworkers think I'm a creep, and I'm just trying to keep my head above water. I don't know how much more of this I can take. Anyway, thanks for listening to me vent. I appreciate all the support and advice from my last post. I'll keep you all updated on how things go from here. Hopefully, things will start to look up soon. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!